This video is for finding the scale factor. So how you find the scale factor is you always take your new image and you're going to divide it by your old or your original. So the other way to say this is the dilation divided by the original. And we wrote new this way so you can remember that the prime marks or the apostrophes that indicates your image. So a scale factor less than 1 causes the image to get smaller. And a scale factor greater than 1 causes the image to get larger. And so that's one way that you can check. If you're trying to find your scale factor and you know that the image gets bigger, you know that your scale factor should be greater than 1. Okay, so all you have to do is pick one point. So for this one, let's do point C because they're both positive. And it's easier when we deal with positives. So C is at, let's see where our origin is. So 2, 3. And then C prime is at, if that's 5, then that's 6. Is that right? Oh, this is 2, 2, sorry. 6, 6. And so what you do is you take your image or your prime, so it's new divided by old. And all you have to do is take one of the values. So I always go with X. And so I'm going to take the new X is 6, and I'm going to divide it by 2. And my scale factor is 3. Now you should be able to do this with any point and get the same exact scale factor. So if we would go back and do point A. So A is at -1, -1. And A prime is at -3, -3. So again, new over old. So if I do -3 divided by -1, so again, whenever you write something as a fraction, it's just a division problem. So 6 over 2 is the same as 6 divided by 2. So here I could do -3 divided by -1, and I get the same exact thing. I get 3 again. So that's a way that you can check this as well. So in practice 2, we're going to do F, and you can see here that I get smaller. And so F is at 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And F prime is at 1, 1. So again, remember, new over old. So my new X value, so again, I just look at the X's, would be 1 divided by 4. Well, that's already in simplest form as a fraction. So your scale factor is 1/4, or if you turn it into a decimal, it would be 0.25. All right, so here we've got another one. So let's do point B on this one. So B is at 1, -2, and B prime is at 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -6. And so again, it will work for either X or Y. So new over old, so the new is the 3, old is 1, so 3 divided by 1 is 3. If you did decide to do the Y, you would get the same exact thing. So the new would be -6 divided by -2, and again, you're still going to get 3. All right, and then the last example here. So I try to avoid these zeros, and I'll kind of show you why in a second. Let's just go ahead and I can show you what happens with this one. So B, point B is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, and B prime is at 1, 0. So the reason I try to avoid anytime we see zeros, because anytime you divide 0 by 0, you're going to get a 0, and you cannot divide by 0. You can never have a number over 0 like that. That does not work in math. But you can still do the X value here. So new over old would be 1/5. And so that would be my scale factor. The other thing that you need to do is to be able to look at these and determine if it's an enlargement or a reduction. So again, anytime that it's the number is less than 1, it's a reduction. Anytime it's greater than 1, it's an enlargement. So 0.3 is less than 1. So this would be a reduction. Here we've got a 2, so that's greater than 1. So that's an enlargement. All right, 5/4. So again, if you're not sure, you can type the fraction in your calculator. And so it didn't simplify it here, but if I do alpha y 4, it'll turn it into a decimal. And so now I can see 1.25 is greater than 1. So don't just assume that when they give you a fraction that it's going to be a reduction. And then finally 2/3. 2/3 is less than 1. So that one is a reduction. And so this final page here goes over all of your transformations. And so it gives you the rules for all the transformations, and it tells you if it preserves congruence and if the orientation stays the same or if it's different. So this is a good page to keep anytime you're doing all the transformations at one time. So that's it for this video.